If you're new here, my name is Cade, and we like to talk about all things pop culture over here. We talk about books, we talk about movies, but I have a very main focus on the Marvel Universe, which if you are involved in any of that right now, you know that it's kind of a big deal where we're at. So, I think today you're gonna sit while I do my makeup, and you're gonna listen to me talk about celebrities that play superheroes and everything that's going on in that world, and we're gonna have fun. Drink of the day, brown sugar shaken espresso with regular milk, because I ran out of oat milk. Okay, so last we left off talking in this topic, I kind of touched on it briefly in my last video that was not a vlog, but that wasn't quite enough for me. So we're going to come back and we're going to be more annoying about it. So, last we left off, it was pre-Oscars. Okay. Now, is the Academy pretty politically driven? Duh. All of Hollywood is, right? However, I have, oh my god, I look so red. So, I understand, right, that the Academy is pretty politically driven, obviously, because all of Hollywood is politically driven. I can't help but feel a twinge of disappointment that we would pick someone who had to use AI in order to get his role right. Now, let me just say...
Let me tell you something. All right.
Let me just say, those of you that know me well, okay, or if you follow my Instagram, or if you've known me for 30 seconds, you know why I'm upset about this. But this is not specifically because Sebastian Stan got snubbed, okay? I want to talk also about the fact that Timothée Chalamet got snubbed. Now, I personally have not seen Timothy's movie on, is it Bob Dylan, I think? But I've seen clips, previews, those little, like, 57-part things to watch a movie on, like, TikTok or whatever. And that's pretty crazy impressive. Wish I could remember the source, but I can't because I can't remember anything. I'm going to try to do better about that. I'm sorry. I even read this snippet from this article just talking about the fact that I think that he was, like, prepping himself for that role for, like, 5 years? Maybe it was less than that, but it was years. It was a long time, and that's insane. To put that amount of work in... Pause. Okay, we're using the e.l.f. Power Grip. Thank you. I think this is the one with niacinamide, but I don't know. To put that much work into a role like that, and then not even... And okay, pause. I understand that it's like, oh, it's an honor to be nominated by the Academy in general, like, just to be nominated for an Oscar is such a big deal. And yes, I agree, okay? I'm not trying to take away from that. I am trying to take away from Adrian Brody. It's really, I feel like I have to, like, pause and get my thoughts together. You guys know me, where, it's a circus over here. Nothing is ever organized. When I sit down and talk to you guys, I don't have a notebook somewhere. I'm looking at my laptop because my Spotify is open. I don't have notes. I just sit here and I just talk. And for some reason, a lot of you just listen to me. And I don't really know why, but it's okay. I have to, like, collect myself. Okay. Okay. This is gonna take me back to the Grammys in, was that January? February? Was that January? I don't know. I don't keep up as much with music pop culture as I do acting Hollywood pop culture. But I do have a best friend who I think would trade me for Billie Eilish if she had the opportunity. Which means, you all know where I'm going with this, I got to hear about Billie getting snubbed Album of the Year to Beyonce, who, don't shoot me, put the gun down. That album barely qualifies as country. Listen. Is it the part of me born in Nashville that's just being snobby about what I think country music should sound like? Yes! Yes! Yeah, I am. Actually, yeah. And the fact that I've grown up in the South. Now, don't y'all come up in here being like, you're in Florida. That's not Southern. No. I'm Floribama, which is about as Southern as you can get before you start tipping into so South that it's not South. You know what I mean? Okay, so that being said, I grew up going to my grandparents' farm. I had a horse at one point. I know chickens. I know cows. I've done the country thing. Okay? And do I think that Beyonce has had some hits in her past? Duh. Do I still listen to Halo all the time? Yeah. Diva, banger. Album of the Year? Really? Anyway, so it takes me right back to that sort of mindset where, like, these artists that have actually put time and effort, poured their entire soul into this work, this art that they're doing, that they have done professionally, that is their entire life, and to have it taken from them by someone who really doesn't deserve it is insane. That's insane to me because, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, like I said, I don't know all of the details because I'm not as into her as maybe I should be. But I think Billie and her brother produced that album, like just the two of them, and they like wrote and produced it together. That album is a masterpiece. I may not be the biggest Billie Eilish fan. That's not anything personal. It's not. Excuse me. I just don't listen to a ton of her music. That album, though, I have it on vinyl because my best friend bought it when she was here, and then when she flew back to Texas, she left it. And so I literally listen to it all the time now. That album is a masterpiece. Anyone who is in the music scene, you know me, you know that's my thing, who understands musicality, who understands recording, who understands songwriting, that album is insane. Absolutely insane. And the fact that I don't think she won anything at the Grammys, that's wild. Back to what we were talking about. I'm gonna compare that to the Oscars because, okay, so if you don't know, yes, we're gonna talk about him. Sorry. Don't watch my videos if you don't want to hear me talk about Sebastian Stan. I don't know what else to tell you. Because he took on a role that is so terrifying in this day and age. So terrifying. Okay, so Sebastian Stan was nominated for his movie no, I was going to say A Different Man. It's not A Different Man. It's The Apprentice. He won a Golden Globe for A Different Man in January. Boom. Okay. So he was nominated, and he was Best Leading Role for his movie The Apprentice, where he played a young Donald Trump. First of all, that is insanely brave to play any sort of Donald Trump-esque character at all. Whoa. On top of that, there's multiple interviews and podcasts that he's been featured on where he has talked about this sort of thing and talked about what it took. That man was listening to recordings of Trump speaking for months, maybe longer. I might have the timeline wrong. Months. And he would just listen to him talk in old recordings so that he would be able to get down the exact speech, the mouth movements, all of it. Okay, now, for any of you that have been following Sebastian Stan's career for a while, you know that he's not a stranger to strange and out-of-the-box characters. He went from Bucky Barnes to Tommy Lee. Nobody knows how he does it, okay? But it happens. And this is nothing short of just as amazing as those other roles were. This is even more impressive, honestly. And again, I've seen partial clips. I've watched a partial little bit. It was a hard movie for me to sit down and watch, so I just didn't finish it. But what I have seen, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And knowing that so much work was put into that just for the award to be handed to someone who needed a robot to do the accent, No, I am upset about this, and I am going to remain upset about this for a while. Okay, concealers I just used. It's the L'Oreal, I think it's the Infallible one, whatever, and then this is a color corrector from the dollar store that I've had for 3 years. Back off. Okay, now that we're sort of through that conversation, I just wanted you guys to know how upset I was. I'm just sharing that with you. I'm just being vulnerable. I just want you guys to know how I feel. Next big thing that happened, we have yet to talk about Captain America. Okay, so I went to go see Captain America Brave New World. 0 spoilers. Didn't know anything. I'd watched every trailer, but I had yet to see anything. I went and I saw it opening day. Really late showing with my best friend who was in town at the time. And if you guys can't tell, I talk about her a lot. This is also an Avery fan page. If you guys are new here, this is also an Avery fan page. So y'all are just gonna have to know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna link her social media down there also, because her content on TikTok is actually pretty cool. She talks about some of the same stuff. So she's awesome. Anyway, I went to a really late showing. I went to an AMC. I was like, I'm going to see this on, like, biggest screen possible. That's always been my tradition. Like, smaller movies that I'm like, oh, I'll probably like it, but, like, it's not a huge deal to me. I'll go to my local theater, which is, God, it's not even branded. It's literally just a local theater. It's not anything special. I went to see Twisters at my local theater, all of that. Anytime there's a Marvel movie or anything, though, I go to an AMC. And so we had our tickets middle of the middle row. It was the best. It was the best. It was so good. And pause. This is not going to be spoiler free. I don't know if you guys can't tell. I like to talk a lot. And I'm not the best at leaving out details. So, not spoiler free. I'll put a timestamp for when I stop talking about this movie, if you guys want to, I don't know, if you care. First of all, I had little to no expectations. Why? Well, because like most of us, I have had kind of a love-hate relationship with Marvel for the past couple of years. I kind of had to suck it up and get over that. And I was like, you know what? This looks like it's going to be good. I want to go and see it. I want to trust the process. And I'm going to just hope and pray that it is actually good and that it's decent. Okay, let's break this down into categories. Because here's the thing. In terms of where we know Marvel movies to be, scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 6. Overall, like if this was just an independent movie that came out, I wasn't thinking about everything else. I wasn't thinking about the last phases of Marvel. I wasn't thinking about like peak, like 2019, 2022 Marvel. That movie was so good. I loved it. Now, what are some things I loved about it? I like that we got more focus on Joaquin Torres. I like that a lot because I loved him in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I had been hoping for a long time. I was like, I really, really, really want to see more of him, and I knew that he was going to be in this movie, but I wasn't sure to what extent, you know, because sometimes they throw those side characters in there and they just like toss them in there. They're not always like super forefront. And I felt like there was a good emphasis on his character. I also feel like he has a lot of potential as a character. Not just because he got handed the Falcon title, basically, but because I like his dynamic. I saw someone on TikTok say that Joaquin and Sam felt very Tony Peter. I loved that. I certainly think there are some pretty ideal differences between the two, but I really like that comparison, and I am always going to be a sucker for that, like, father-son dynamic. I love it. I think it's so precious, and I have tried to work that into my own works and my own books and things, and it's just one of my favorite things on the planet. I think it's precious. I think it showcases how the characters work together really well. It's one of my favorite tropes. And so that felt really well done, just in the way that Sam cared about him. And I thought that was really cool. Now, because of the last 10 minutes of this video, you're probably thinking, are you going to talk about the elephant in the room? Yes, I am. First of all, genuinely did not think. Pause! That's a lie. Okay, there was a podcast episode that Sebastian Stan was featured on. I'm going to go back and find it. I'll put it somewhere here, because I'm going to go and find it while I'm editing this. There was a podcast that he was featured on not super long ago, actually. It was before Captain America came out, but I want to say it was in like January, maybe. The interviewer kind of brought up to him, he was like, so you've got a lot of projects going on. I mean, with like all the awards season, you know, with A Different Man, with The Apprentice, and Captain America, you know, because Captain America is happening. And he kind of like stuttered over himself, and he was like, you mean Thunderbolts? And he was like, no, like Captain America. And he was like, oh, well, that's, and just totally waved it off. I knew. The second I saw that clip, yeah, I was like, he's gonna be in it one way or another. There's going to be something. I couldn't have predicted that it was what it was, but I knew it was gonna be something. And I was losing my mind. I was so happy. It was crazy. Also the collective reaction when they showed the photo of Sam and Bucky in the office that he had like framed. Oh, that was just so heartwarming. Also the fact that they used the Disneyland interview photo for that. My best friend turned to me after the movie was over and she goes, the photo in the office. And I said, that's a Disneyland press tour photo. And she was like, that picture is so obviously Anthony and Sebastian and not Sam and Bucky. Regardless, it was cute. But I had a visceral reaction just to seeing that. I had no idea what was coming. Hello? So that was a big deal to me. That meant a lot to me. But I think that maybe I also felt that the plot was interesting. Okay, I want to have hope that it's like everything that they randomly dropped towards the end of the movie is going to be brought back for, you know, the upcoming films. But that was a little weird. I feel like there were some things that they just dropped really randomly, like they were a big deal and then all of a sudden we like have no idea what's going on with that and they just don't mention it again. I wasn't super sure what was going on with that. This is a Maybelline Superstay skin tint. I have to use 2 shades, mix them together. When summer comes, I'll only have to use 1, but you know, whatever. I was a little conflicted on that sort of thing. The other thing also, and a lot of these thoughts I kind of came to as I've been watching like my other like favorite creators kind of talk about this and how they feel about it. I think that the trailer gave away a little too much. I was also expecting the Red Hulk thing to be a little more prominent, and it like only showed up like the last little bit of the movie. I didn't really understand what was going on with that. And so I was entertained. I liked it a lot. I really did. In the scope of old Marvel movies, you know, peak 2019, 2022, obviously I think that it fell short of that bar. But I think that that was our peak. Now, I may foot in mouth in the next 2-3 years as, you know, Thunderbolts and Doomsday and Secret Wars, as all of those start to come out, I may take back what I just said. But for right this second, that era was the era. That was it. And I think we all mentally had the bar raised in our minds a lot. That like, oh, well, from now on, every single Marvel movie is going to be that intense. It's going to be that good. It's going to have that amount of plot and all of these things. And I just don't know if we'll ever get there. You know? And I don't think that that should be immediate cause to hate on movies that are coming out. You know? If the movies suck, they suck, and we should say that. But you also have to give them a fair shot. I feel like we were certainly slacking in the last couple of years, the things that were coming out, and some of the projects, I didn't even bother going to the theater. I'm catching up now, and I'm watching them on Disney Plus because I feel like they're going to be relevant. It wasn't hitting. Was I also mourning everything that happened? Yeah. But I don't know. I think that's where I'm at on it mentally, is just that, you know, I'm still at the restaurant. There's our Taylor Swift reference for the video. I'm still at the restaurant. I'm still in 2021. I'm still in 2020, 2019. Like, I'm still there. And I kind of have to shake myself out of that because this is a new phase and this is a new era. And change is scary, but it's also good. Change is scary, but it's also good. And I think that that is a big testament to everything that has happened since the first Avengers came out. That was the first Marvel movie I went to see in theaters when I was 7. And it started everything. It started the whole thing for me. I've been here. I've been a resident for a while. And I just really love how those phases blossomed and changed through all of the new movies and everything. You know, and now I wasn't necessarily old enough to be on social media and everything when the majority of peak Marvel was happening. But I know that the talk of a new Spider-Man was kind of controversial for a little bit. And so that sort of change can be intimidating. You know, bringing in Wanda from Age of Ultron and just having these other things that are slowly feeding in, and all of this change was happening. Yeah, how did we get from point A, you know, the first Iron Man movie? How did we get from point A to point B, which was Endgame? A lot of change had to happen to get there. And I think, personally, that no matter how nostalgic we are about everything that has happened, I think that we should still give them a chance. And, you know, don't judge them by the scope that everything is going to be big and huge and intense and just the most amazing superhero movie you've ever seen in your life. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. That was how Brave New World felt to me. It felt like being back when I could just watch a Marvel movie just to enjoy it. I wasn't trying to decipher things. The world wasn't hanging in the balance. Like, it was so nice. And to have those moments also where things would happen and I'm like, oh my gosh, because it's been so long since I felt that way about a movie, you know. And it's just like the excitement is just, it's nostalgic for me. And I think I liked it not just out of the confines of nostalgia, but I liked it in general as a superhero movie. I thought it was good. And to all of you saying that Sam isn't your Captain America, you can leave right now.
You can pack your things and leave.
Sorry. I don't need you. Okay? If you're new here, I border on being a Steve Rogers hate account sometimes, okay? Just because of what he did at the end of Endgame. Just walking away, leaving, you know. We can talk about that another time. But I also believe that he needed a break. He woke up in a new century, a new era, thinking everyone he loved and knew was dead. And immediately after that, he was being thrown into one fight after another. It makes me think about Bucky's comment in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier when he's talking to, what's her name, Raynor, I think, his therapist. And he's like, I got a little calm in Wakanda, but other than that, I went from one fight to another for 90 years. And obviously, Steve was in the ice for 70 years. So, like, it doesn't totally apply. But I understand how it's similar. And I get it, you know, I get that he wanted a break. I'm getting into it, and I said that we weren't gonna okay, we're gonna move past. I think that I think that Sam being Captain America is a good move. And I really, really think that it's going to pave the way for a lot of really cool things in the Marvel Universe. Having someone of Sam's nature be at the forefront and kind of be that stand up, stand tall, front of the line kind of hero is really cool. Now, he's not Steve Rogers. That's something that a lot of us are going to have to come to terms with. He's not Steve Rogers. And he's never going to be Steve Rogers. He's Sam Wilson, and that's what makes him cool. And I think that is just... I think we just have to come to terms with that. You know, this is the NYX Buttermilk bronzer. What shade is this? 2? I don't know. This is KVD Beauty's cream blush. Hollowed Apple and Hidden Apple. I mainly use this one. That's what we're gonna do. In terms of that, we've gotten 2 new Thunderbolts trailers. I know that we got the one that Letterboxd posted, which is my favorite so far. I thought that was like so sick. And okay. I feel like the Letterboxd trailer matched the vibes of Thunderbolts a lot better than all of the other trailers have. I've been excited for this movie from the beginning. Yelena is one of my favorite characters ever. I absolutely love her to death. I think she's amazing. Ghost is super cool. Obviously not a huge John Walker fan, but whatever. I think the Bucky thing kind of goes unsaid. I am just so excited. Ever since that one interview where Sebastian Stan was like, it's not quite Suicide Squad. It's more The Breakfast Club, but superheroes. Locked in, bruh. So excited. I have been so excited for this movie, and those trailers genuinely just made it so much better. I cannot wait. I am so excited. Okay. I'm a little intrigued because I don't know a lot about the villain in Thunderbolts. I need to do a little bit more research on that, just so that I'm well versed, I guess. But it seems like it's going to be really fun. Not to say that Brave New World wasn't fun. I mean, it was serious. You know, it had its funny moments, obviously. You know, all Marvel movies do. But it wasn't really geared that direction. And I feel like Thunderbolts is going to be more in that area. And I'm very excited about that. I think that's going to be really cool. This is the MAC Warm Neutrals palette. The shades don't have names, but I'm going to use this one right here, just to kind of cover up what we got going on. So I'm very excited for Thunderbolts. The cast announcement. Oh my gosh. Talk about an elephant in the room. The cast announcement for Doomsday came out not yesterday. The day before. Wednesday. I'm filming this on Friday, because I can't keep up with anything to save my life. I can't give myself more than 24 hours to film and edit and post anything. This is not how my life works. the cast announcement for Doomsday came out. For those of you saying that the Marvel fandom isn't still around, I think they posted the final statistics and it was like 257 million views to watch them line up chairs for over 5 hours. That's insane. That's actually so bonkers. That's crazy. I would go back and I would check every like 15 minutes. Sometimes I would miss, but whatever. Did not expect it to be as heavy on the X-Men. And I know that this is only like the first set of the cast. I understand that it's not like final. There's obviously more to come. But like, that was crazy. That was crazy. And I didn't anticipate there being that many X-Men. So, I'm gonna have to come back and watch those movies because I don't know anything. I was talking to a friend about this, and just talking about the fact that I like haven't really watched the X-Men movies. I've seen Logan. Don't get me wrong, I've seen them. I have a dad who is a nerd, okay? But I was so little when I watched them, and then it never really, like, piqued my interest to watch them again, that I don't really remember any information that's gonna be fundamental. So I was like, I've seen Logan, but I don't really remember anything. And he was like, you need to go watch that right now. And I was like, okay. That's probably what I'm gonna do tonight. This year is also gonna be an interesting year for me because I am going to really take my time to kind of pool my knowledge and learn as much as I can, not just about the X-Men, but also about the Fantastic Four, because I don't know a lot of that lore either. I've seen the one, I think it's the one from 2005. Maybe. I could be wrong. The one with, I think, was it Jessica Alba and Chris Evans? That was certainly something. I remember that movie. That's kind of all I've got in that area of things. And I'd really like to know more. Also because I love understanding, like, little Easter eggs and things. Like watching Deadpool and Wolverine and not understanding, like, half of what was going on. That felt alienating. I felt alienated. I felt like I was being left out of the loop. And I wasn't a huge fan of that. But yeah, I want to be able to understand these things. Also because I feel like this is going to be such a big deal. And I want to appreciate it for what it's meant to be appreciated as. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same idea as the L'Oreal Hydra Perfect loose powder. I'm just going to use it to set my under eyes because I have a tendency to crease pretty bad. You know, it's the same vibes as, like, if you had gone to see Endgame, but you hadn't, like, caught up on anything else. You just, like, kind of watched the movies when they came out, and it's just what you would not understand the cultural significance of everything that happened in that movie. And that's my thing, you know, I want to be able to appreciate this thing in this film and this cinema that is coming from this new phase in the Marvel Universe. And I think that, you know, that's just going to be something that I need to work on, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Fantastic Four is coming out this summer. I am excited about that. This is Falsy/Lift. I use the waterproof because I cry a lot. It's more so, it feels like, I mean, and I understand that it's a new phase, I understand that it's a new era, but it feels very new to me because it's a lot of characters and arcs and franchises that I'm not super familiar with. So obviously I'm open to learning and understanding these new things, but, you know, at the end of the day, it is something new, which can be a little bit intimidating for a lot of people. So, I'm trying to have an open mind about it. I know that there's a lot of, like, old, like, Marvel movie snobs that just, they're bitter about what's going on, and I think that's silly, because if we hadn't just joyfully sat and watched Age of Ultron, and Winter Soldier, and Civil War, and Ant-Man, and Thor, Dark World, all of these other things, if we hadn't sat and enjoyed those and given those an opportunity, we wouldn't have the movies that raised the bar for us. That's how I feel about that. It's certainly an interesting era to be in my opinion. I think that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to predict what's going on and what's going to happen. I have no idea when the next cast announcement is going to be for Doomsday. I don't really know what's going on with that. But I am excited, absolutely freaking out over the fact that Tom Hiddleston is going to be in it, which, okay, pause. This is so niche. If you are on Marvel TikTok, best friend is laughing at me because I bet she knows what I'm going to say. There is a creator, I think her username is Supreme Malia, I think. I could be wrong. I'm going to cry if I'm wrong. I love her to death. She is one of the first creators I ever saw doing the Marvel thing, and she wasn't like an editor. Like, she wasn't making edits or anything. She was just sitting and making funny content, and she was a girl my age, and I thought that was so cool. And so I have followed her for the longest time, and I think her content is so funny. And she is total Loki stan. And it's hilarious. And anyone who follows her knows that. Like, that's her thing. The audio that literally blew up on TikTok, that was the clip of, what's his name? Is it Mobius, I think? He's like, I think I'm just going to stay here for a while, let time pass, and it's the music in the background. She made that audio, and it blew up. And I love her, and I love her stuff, and I think it's so funny. And she went to a showing of Much Ado About Nothing, which is I think it's a Shakespeare Broadway retelling, I think, that Tom Hiddleston is in right now, and she got to meet him. And that is, like, so crazy to me. Just remember, if you think your dreams are unachievable, there's a young 20-something girl who just met her celebrity crush. This is just a basic pencil eyeliner. I got it at TJ Maxx, so I don't know what the brand is, but I'm going to shut up for a second while I do this so I don't stab my eye out. Hello? I'm filming. Ta-da! Whoa! That's a whole lot of animals. Let me see. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Oh! She's wonderful. I like that yarn. Yeah. Oh, she's so cute, hun. I love her little tail. And her sparkly eyes. She's like Ella. That's so cute.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. I'm very hopeful for this next year in Marvel terms and how we're all doing with that. I think that we're gonna see a lot of new things, and I'm just excited to see what comes from it. I'm excited for press tours. I miss the press tours. And I'm very, very excited. I know nothing's really gonna compare to all of the content and inside jokes that we have from all the old press tours. I don't know if we'll ever meet that standard, but currently right now, I think it's a good spot. And I am excited to see what happens. And I think that it's gonna be cool. You know? I don't really have any huge thoughts on anything else new that is happening currently. Just because I feel like it's one of those situations where it's really hard to sit and look and predict what's going on and what's happening. And so we're just kind of along for the ride right now. This is the e.l.f. cream lip liner. I think this is the shade Chocolate. Dark Cocoa. Whatever. Anyway, I am very excited in terms of just the casting in general that has been announced for Doomsday. so many insane actors, aside from the fact that Sebastian Stan's in it, which means that I can't get this lip gloss open, which means that Bucky is going to survive Thunderbolts. Now, I said this to my mother, and she was like, well, how do you know it's not, he doesn't die anyway, and it's just like a memory? And then I strictly informed her that we don't voice those sort of things, that those are inside thoughts. I'm choosing not to think about that too much right now currently, but I still think it's gonna be good, and I'm still excited. And so we're just still hoping and praying that he lives. Now, listen, am I well aware that by the end of this phase, by the end of Doomsday, Secret Wars, all of that, Bucky's probably not gonna be alive. Yeah, I know. But I'm coming to terms with that. And it's okay. It's fine. And this is, I use the Morphe Luminous setting powder spray. And yes, I'm still stuck in 2019. I still use highlighter. I do it after my setting spray. It's the NYX Born to Glow. I don't even know if they still sell this because I've had this for like 50 million years. I'm just gonna dab it on. Just a little bit. Anyway. So that's all of my thoughts on our little monthly catch-up here. I think I'm going to start regularly doing this. We'll just do once a month. We're going to do makeup, and we're going to talk about everything that's happened in the last month in our pop culture world that we're following. But I need a name if we're going to make this a series. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. I'm going to put all of my social media down in the description. And I'm pretty funny sometimes, and we talk about stuff like this literally all the time. So if you like that and you want to stick around, you should definitely subscribe, and you should just come and hang out because we have a lot of fun. That's all I got for you. I love you 3000, and I will see you next time. Bye!